Star Trek Picard. The show carries on. Okay, let's start with the good stuff first. The good stuff. It's directed by Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek The Next Generation, and he's really good at directing Star Trek stuff. And he was good on directing The Orville as well. He does have his own personal cliches where he likes to tilt the camera in funky ways, and that does occur because it's Jonathan Frakes. Not a slight, just an observation. Other good things. Oh, it's not even as horrible as the preview showed, which is good because the previews were embarrassing last week. And there's some people might like the very, let's see, what was episode 2 of Star Wars called? The Rise of the Clones. The town that they visit is very reminiscent of the town that Obi-Wan, that Obi-Wan visits with in Attack of the Clones. It looks a lot like that. And there's the video games come to life, and it's really silly. Some people might enjoy that. The special effects are fine in that regard. The green screen is still really obvious. They have an actress in the show who looks, at least to me, a lot like Marina Sirtis, however she pronounces her name, Deanna Troi. But it's not her. And I had to look because she's not even in the front casting. Even though she's a major role in the show, she shows up second in the end credits over a guy who's barely in the show. So there's no sexism going on here. Oh, yes, maybe there is. But I thought it was Marina Sirtis doing a really good American accent. It's not. But anyways, you may not have that problem. You may not think it looks like her at all, but I sure did. And what else do we have that's in the good news? The story's a lot more solid this week, even though it still moves us forward at a snail's pace. And this one feels more self-contained, and I really liked that aspect. It does have a beginning, and it does have a middle, and it does have an end, thanks to 7 of 9. So in that regard, and maybe Jonathan Frakes had something to do with that, I don't know. But at least you had that beginning, middle, and an end. So there's the good stuff. The bad stuff. The men literally take a back seat. It's not just an expression. There's the front seat of the spaceship, and there's the men in the back seat. They're looking at 7 and 9 if you're wondering what they're looking at. So, wow, the men really do take a back seat in this episode, like they have in all episodes. One of the things that's hard to deny is this show is called Picard, and Picard constantly plays a secondary character in his own show. This whole show is about 7 of 9 and her story arc. And Picard shows up when he needs to for his few lines and then moves on. And the whole show is like that. It's like, when is Picard actually going to be in his own show? As a featured character. Not yet, and this is episode 5. So you see, a little bit of spoiler here. This woman, she is a Starfleet officer who's now a rebel, and here she is a Starfleet officer, and yet there's a scene where she's dealing with some personal regrets with someone that she cares about, and she breaks down and starts crying. That seems unlikely from a Starfleet officer, but there she was, and it's like, really? Where's your composure? If you remember, I think it was in the movies with Star Trek Next Generation, where Picard has to explain what it's like to be a captain, which is, you don't always know the answers, but you can't let anybody else know that you don't know the answers, even though they know that you don't know the answers, because that's just how it works to be a leader. And it's the same thing here, where it's like, why are you breaking down and crying? That's just seems unlikely. Maybe they're just trying to add a feminist touch. I don't know. Maybe she found out that the co-star who had a major role was going to land up in the back side of the credits, and that made her cry. I don't know what her motivation was, but it was disturbing. And then this lady over here, same scenario, where she has actions that she regrets with someone she cares deeply about, and she starts crying all over the place. So yeah, there's a lot of crying in this episode, which is really weird. Now, if you're wondering, does 7 of 9 cry? You'll have to tune in and find out. All right, so there's the review. It is a self-contained episode, mostly. Picard plays backseat to the women, and so do all the men. This fellow here, who joined the show last week, I think he has 4 lines, and each one of the lines are like 3 or 4 words each. They turned him into a punchline. It's really sad. Every line that he says in the show that I can remember was a punchline. It was a joke. And I'm like, that's really unfortunate. So here's this guy who's a mercenary, cuts a dude's head off in the last episode, and in this episode he's the punchline over and over and over. This guy's guest starring in his own show, and this guy, he's there. He serves a purpose. He's very functional, and that's about it. So, did the show get better? No, the show as a show that is supposed to be soap opera style, where each episode reveals new things. No, it's terrible. And as a self-contained episode, no, it's not bad. I mean, it's really not. But when you put it into the puzzle that it belongs in, oy. But if you want to watch a standalone, this is a really good one to do it with. Even though, in the future is female, and the guys, well, take a back seat. Thanks for watching. The other reviews for the other episodes are on this channel if you want to check them out. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the show and do the reviews for the people that do tune in for them. So thank you very much. I do appreciate that you care about what I have to share with this. And I look forward to seeing you in the future, and may there be men to go with the women, and may some of the men have cojones in the future, unlike this future that we have here. Anyways, enough of that. We'll see you in the future. Bye.